They say love is patient, but how long is too long to wait? When I met Ellie, I was 19, a broke university student, awkward with women and still figuring out who I was. She was 2 years younger, a freshman, but already had this quiet confidence about her. We clicked instantly, bonding over our love for late-night coffee, 80s movies, and debating whether pineapple belonged on pizza. She wasn't flashy or loud, but she had this magnetic pull, the kind of girl who didn't need to demand attention. People just gravitated toward her. And me? I was the lucky guy she chose. For the first few months, everything was perfect. We talked for hours, laughed at the dumbest jokes, and held hands, like we were the only two people on campus. But there was one thing, the one thing, that sat between us like an unspoken rule. I'm waiting until marriage. She told me this early on, casually, like it was just a fun fact about her. She wasn't religious, not anymore, but she had made a promise to her father, a pastor, when she was younger. And for whatever reason, she still clung to that promise. I told myself it didn't matter, that sex wasn't everything, that love was enough. For a while it was, until it wasn't. By my final year of university, Ellie had already graduated and started her first real job in the corporate world. She was suddenly surrounded by polished men in suits, men who drove expensive cars, men who took their dates to fancy rooftop restaurants. Was still a broke student, living off instant noodles, trying to stretch my last $20 until the end of the week. Mark from work invited me to this amazing jazz bar last night. Reminded me of you, she'd say. Jason just got promoted. He's the youngest team leader in the firm's history. Tim took the whole team to a steakhouse. Best dinner I've ever had. Every time she mentioned them, I felt smaller. And the waiting was getting unbearable. It wasn't even just about sex anymore. It was about feeling like I wasn't enough. One night, after another argument about our future, I finally said it. Ellie, I don't think this is working. Her face went pale. Wait. What? You're breaking up with me? I hesitated. I just think we want different things. Tears welled up in her eyes. Is this about sex? I looked away. It's about everything, Ellie. I love you. But I feel like I'm waiting for something that might never happen. She sobbed, begged me to reconsider. But deep down I knew it was over, and for 6 months we didn't speak. Then one day, out of nowhere, I got a text. Ellie. Hey, can we meet? Against my better judgment, I said yes. We sat across from each other in a quiet cafe, and for a while neither of us spoke. She looked different, not in a bad way, just changed. I miss you, she said finally. I think I made a mistake. I want to try again. My heart clenched. Part of me had wanted to hear those words for months. What changed? I asked. She hesitated, stirring her coffee. I had a short relationship with someone else, she admitted. And we were intimate. Silence. It felt like my stomach had dropped. Through the floor. So let me get this straight, I said slowly. You made me wait 3 years, but some guy you just met, he got what I never did? She flinched. It's not like that. Then what is it like, Ellie? She swallowed hard. I realized that waiting wasn't as important as I thought, and I wanted to be with you, fully. I stared at her, but only now, after you've already been with someone else? She didn't answer. I exhaled, running a hand through my hair. I need time to think, but deep down, I already knew. Months passed. I finished university, got my first real job, and met Olivia. She was different. There was no hesitation, no confusion, no years of waiting for something that might never come. With Olivia, everything was simple, natural, right. One night, she invited me to a party with her work friends. I went to grab a drink and someone tapped my shoulder. Hey, can you pass me a beer? I turned and froze. It was Tim, Ellie's Tim. He had no idea who I was. We chatted for a moment and I walked away, my heart pounding. When I told Olivia, she just raised an eyebrow. So, the guy your ex had a thing with is at my work event? Small world. We laughed about it. And for the first time, I realized I didn't care. Ellie was my past. Olivia was my future. Weeks later, I ran into Ellie again, this time at a formal charity event, and she wasn't alone. Tim was beside her, his hand resting on her back. And on her finger, a diamond ring. "Daniel," she said brightly, "it's so great to see you." She held out her hand, flashing the engagement ring. "Tim and I are getting married," I smiled, genuinely happy for her. "Congratulations." Just then, Olivia walked back over, slipping her arm around me. Ellie's smile froze for a split second before she recovered. Later that night, I got an email from an unfamiliar address. "It was so great to see you again. I've missed you. That girl you were with is pretty. How serious is it?" I stared at the screen. Then, without hesitation, I deleted the email and blocked the sender. Ellie had been a huge part of my life once, and maybe a small part of me would always care about her. But she wasn't my future. As Olivia and I walked home that night, she leaned in close. "She still has a thing for you, you know." I just smiled. Doesn't matter. Because for the first time in years, I was exactly where I was meant to be. As Olivia and I walked home that night, she leaned in. "Close. She still has a thing for you, you know." I just smiled. Doesn't matter. Because for the first time in years, I was exactly where I was meant to be. For so long, I had been waiting. Waiting for Ellie to change. Waiting for things to be different. Waiting for love to feel enough. But love isn't about waiting. Love is about choosing. And in the end, Ellie had made her choices, and so had I. If there's one thing I've learned from all of this, it's that love should never feel like a waiting game. It should never be about hoping someone will become the person you need. The right person doesn't make you wait for love, for commitment, for intimacy. They meet you where you are. Ellie was my past. A lesson. A memory. Olivia, she was my future. And this time, I wasn't waiting for anything. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.